All right, we are live.
Outstanding. We are the Lunatics and Legends podcast. I'm attempting to figure out how to figure out how to figure out
And
doing a live.
I am trying to figure out why I can't see any of our video content in YouTube Studio while we're streaming live.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. So,
We decided we were going to do a sit rep situational report on what's been going on with Lunatics and Legends. We're just wrapping up 4 months that we've been dropping podcasts. Doing pretty well. 828 subscribers. Super impressed.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah. And it's awesome because we have some really good episodes coming up as well. We had Chief Matthew Thomas on, and he has what I think it was 33 years in law enforcement. Worked in Pinal County as Sheriff Lamb's number 2 in charge. Worked for Sheriff Teeple in Pinal County as his number 2 in charge. Went on to become a chief for police department here in Arizona. He also wrote a book called Interceptors, The Untold Fight Against the Mexican Cartels.
Yeah, it's a really cool book. There's a lot of really cool stories in there. There's some of the stuff he was talking about is pretty fantastic. I'm
Yeah.
excited to actually thumb through it and
Yeah.
dig into some of the stuff he was talking about.
Yeah. I actually already reached out to a buddy of mine because he was talking about the script and like shopping that in Hollywood. And I reached out to a friend of mine who's a producer and was like, hey, bud, you might want to pay attention to this. Hopefully we can make the connection between the two. And I absolutely love that interview. Next week is James Martinez. He was or is an Army combat veteran of the Iraq War. Got out as a sergeant, went into the civilian world, became a homeless drug addict, ended up on the street running a sign asking for change. And I believe it was a fellow veteran. Yeah, it was a Sergeant Major. Sorry, Air Force talk. Sergeant Major pulled up on him and was just like, what was your job? He said, combat medic. And the guy pulls over and was just like, want to give you a job. And said some really spicy stuff, giving him some accountability, really tore him up and made him decide to go the straight and narrow, became an entrepreneur and runs a charity helping veterans out. Like, just super good interview. I've been super happy about all of the clips that I've been able to pull from that so easily to do as the shorts. And
Yeah, he's very high energy. It's a lot of fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was fantastic interview. Extremely excited about launching that. What's crazy though is we have currently this week we're dropping the episodes with Blaine Carson, and I'm blown away by, like, not that Blaine isn't a great dude, not that he's not a very interesting person to listen to. It was just wild to me because I didn't think about how much the CrossFit community was going to show up for us. And we've got a ton of views on those videos, and I absolutely love it because he's just an anomaly. 72 years old, placed 8th in the CrossFit globally for the Masters 70 plus last year.
He's an absolute beast. And the thumbnail that you clipped for it,
Yeah.
where he's flexing, is just
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is, like, okay, that's him flexing, but that's also just him in the room. He's
Yeah.
just that big a presence
Yeah.
physically, and even just his presence alone. He's a very, for being of average size or height rather. It's a very big presence for a lot of reasons. It was a lot of fun to be in the room with him.
Yeah. I mean, I'm much shorter than he is and, kind of chubby. However, like, that dude's flex was like way bigger. I was like,
legit.
what, dude? Like, you just dropped that on us without warning. So, yeah, it just kind of cracked me up how we didn't know anything about it. We were just like, all right, let's go live, kind of check the analytics real quick. And I was like, oh, bud, this is not a short. And he got the same amount of views on his long form than we normally get on shorts. And like, that's fantastic. So extremely happy with the results from that. CrossFitters coming out and showing support. Appreciate it. And caught a little bit of hate in the comment section, and it just kind of makes me giggle.
Oh, for CrossFitters?
Yeah.
People don't like CrossFit? Huh.
Well, they're just, that causes injuries, because we posted a video that talks about how, it's kind of a myth. If you take care of yourself, if you do it the right way, you're likely not going to have a problem.
A lot of the top competitors have some pretty serious injuries. They're pushing themselves to the absolute maximum limits beyond really what they should be doing, and they know that. And if you want to be the best in anything, that's what it takes. For the rest of us, you can do CrossFit very safely. I'm not even a CrossFitter myself. And every time I've done it, I think, wow, that was a really very powerful workout. And at no point in time did I think that I was in danger of hurting myself. Yes, if you're constantly trying to pick up the heaviest weight and do all of the things the heaviest possible, or even just like at your max, like I'm going to max all of these things, yeah, probably going to hurt yourself. That's true for anything.
Right.
So when I do CrossFit, I drop all of my weights significantly over what I would normally do for isolation, bodybuilding, weightlifting styles. It's a very different thing. And if you do these things with a little bit of intelligence and you just drop your weights to something that's realistic, they're great workouts. They really are.
Yeah. Well, thank God my coach day one was like, hey, don't ego lift. And I know I've told this story on the podcast before. However, she was just like, do not ego lift. These are athletes in here. Don't try to hang with them. They're working out 5 times, 6 times a week. Some are doing 2-a-days. And, I thought I was going to go in there and show her how strong I was. And I got humbled real fast, and then was just like, I'm surrendered, coach. What weight am I putting on? And, CrossFit coaches don't want people that are going to injure themselves, so they're not going to push you. They're not going to be like, oh, stack it up. You should run at RX. Like RX, recommended exercise, that is for people that have been doing CrossFit for years. Like, you're not going to step in there more than likely and just start throwing big weight around. So, okay, humble yourself. Don't ego lift, and you should be all right.
Agreed.
And one guy specifically kind of made me giggle. Had posted something about, like, he asked AI for the injury percentages of CrossFit, and it was this astronomical number. And I was like, you know what? I'm just curious. I'm going to check this out. So I hopped on ChatGPT and I typed in, like, what is the CrossFit numbers? And it was lower than what he said, but okay. And then I was like, all right, as far as professional competition athletes, what about these other sports? And it was like, yeah, pretty much right on par with football, because there's a ton of injuries in football, a little bit less in basketball, So it's competition level athletic sports. Yes, there is an amount of injury that's going to happen. And you don't hear so much, especially anymore, these people talking about the amount of injuries that happen with different martial arts. But, they'll watch them and support them as much as they can.
Yeah, those are full contact sports. I think with the disconnect there is that with CrossFit, I'm not making physical contact with another person. So the amount of damage that I'm doing to myself is based on whether or not I should really be putting or attempting to put this much weight over my head this many times, versus I'm an offensive lineman. It's a significantly different thing. Or I'm in an MMA cage and this other person's intentionally trying to damage my entire body.
I get it.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Not exactly apples to apples.
Yes, and competition sports. Yeah. Like, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You don't hear these people causing a whole big ruckus when it comes to football, Yeah.
The only time that I hear about people getting injuries in CrossFit is when somebody's aggressively attempting to do more than what they've done previously.
Yeah.
Everybody has its limits, and CrossFit is a great place to figure that out if you like. For me, I would say in a CrossFit WOD, everything, if there's some kind of an exercise that I would do in the gym just with standard weightlifting, I'll easily cut that weight in half. I'm not interested in getting hurt, and I don't have to do the same amount of weight isolation as I would in CrossFit to get the workout. I'm 6'4". Doing anything that involves running or cardio and then picking things up immediately beats my ass.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be heavy for it to suck.
Right.
For me, CrossFit is not about doing super heavy things.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to compete, I get it. Then it is about doing super heavy things. And then, well, risk reward. I mean, it's part of the risk of doing it.
Yeah.
Is I'm probably going to hurt myself doing these workouts. If that's what you're into, cool. And it's not for me. And I think that anybody that's hating on it is being a little bit disingenuous because the context is different.
Right. For me, it's like, yes, anything that you do, you're risking something, right? However, if you go into a CrossFit gym and you've been doing CrossFit for 2-3 months, and then you decide to be a competitor athlete, like, yeah, you're probably going to risk injury. Give yourself some time to learn the movements, to do it the right way. And again, I highly doubt that any coach out there is going to want to push you to the point of a possible injury, because if for no other reason, capitalism, they will then lose a customer.
And I think I'm going to disagree with that. I think that there's a large portion of them that are so dumb that they literally just think if they encourage it, like the amount of gassing up that happens at a CrossFit WOD, I think is fantastic. I enjoy that part because everybody is firing up everybody.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I like that. I have seen coaches firsthand encourage and way over the top people to do things that, in my opinion, based on what I'm seeing in front of me and how bad the form has gotten and how clearly how much they're clearly struggling to do something they should not be attempting to do. And coaches be like, yeah, you got it. You got to push through. And then everybody else sees the leader of this group. And now other people are encouraging somebody to do something that I want to run over and say, put it down. Just please, God, put it down before vertebrae start shooting out of your back. I agree. That's not common. That's not all the time.
Yeah.
But just like good cops and bad cops, most cops are good people. There are some bad ones. CrossFit coaches, there's definitely some bad ones out there.
All right. That's fair. I will say my experience of coaches has been very much the polar opposite of that. And they are big on, no, we want to keep you here healthy, happy, and telling people how amazing our gym is. Right.
And that's good. So. That's fantastic. And I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt and say most of them probably are behaving that way.
Yeah.
I think the things that I have seen, I traveled a lot for my previous line of work, and I think I had a unique opportunity to experience more bad coaches than maybe most people would.
Yeah.
So I was on tour, so some of the guys are CrossFitters, and they hey, go on, let's go CrossFit. And like, okay, I'll go with you, but that's not what I do. And then, of course, like, oh, man, you look stronger. That you should be able to do more. I'm like, I can't because I don't do this all the time, and that's not why I do any of these things. And it's, and then seeing, again, some of the coaches do some things that I'm thinking like, well, if you were my client, I would never tell you to do that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But again, my experience has been all really good. And I've met quite a few coaches.
Well, and also I don't think it gets as big as it is nationwide. If the thing that I saw, I would say is probably pretty much a 50-50 split. I saw just as many good coaches as I saw, or I don't know what you call them, when someone is leading a CrossFit class.
Yeah, coach.
Okay, coach. I don't know if they have, their Grand Poobah Dragon Master Flex or something. Okay.
They have like stages of coaches,
okay.
yeah.
Right.
But
so they do have silly names?
No.
Oh, well,
it's like you're a stage 1 coach or a stage 2 coach.
That's kind of boring.
Okay.
Who do we write to about that?
Probably CrossFit.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, just I guess to go full circle with that, it's just crazy to me how much the CrossFit community showed up to watch that podcast, and like appreciate you guys. And then past that, I thought it was also really funny. We had a video go viral on Facebook that got over 64,000 views in like the first 24 hours. And it was just you yammering about the Mandela effect.
Like, that was fantastic.
Yeah. I was at the Ren Fair, and I'm hanging out in the bleachers, like showing the kiddo, look at the knight, and blah, 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 they're going to sword fight. And I was like, I'll check my phone real quick. And I'm like, whoa, dude, we got 64,000 views on that video. It was less than that, but it had only dropped like 2 hours prior, but it was already at like 20,000 views. Oh. And it just cracked me up because there were people oh, I love the Mandela effect. There was people, that's not the real Mandela effect. And it just, it made me giggle. And like, of course, your video got to go viral. My videos that I posted for the shorts got us 2 strikes on TikTok out the gate.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, you don't talk about Schneina Schneven, you know, the Schwinn showers.
You don't?
Nope.
Huh.
Because they got real spicy about that. So, yeah, we have 2 strikes on TikTok, and it was, I think, our 2nd or 3rd video on TikTok.
Nice.
So, cool.
Right.
Out the gate strong. But,
well, the funny stuff about, or the funniest thing for me about all of that conspiracy theory stuff is that I enjoy it at an entertainment level. Not every conspiracy is a conspiracy, right? But I'm the last person to be a resource about the validity of any conspiracy being remotely true.
Right.
I just find them wildly entertaining. Some people like Seinfeld. Some people like other shows that I don't care for.
Yeah.
I like conspiracy theory. I don't think that the earth is flat. I find it wildly entertaining when people want to talk about it. Yeah. I don't think the moon is hollow. But it's a really fun theory, conspiracy theory to talk about, the dark side of the moon. I mean, yes, some scientists, and it's like, no, there's the moon rotates. We see it all the way. Like, we see the whole thing no matter what. Yeah. And then other people are like, no, that's the dumbest thing ever. We definitely don't see the dark side of the moon, and this is why. Mm-hmm. And it's fantastic to listen to. At an entertainment level, conspiracy theories are fantastic. I will talk about them forever, not with any sort of authority whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me, I even appealed their decision to give us the strikes with like the context of like, I wasn't saying I believed it or that it was a true narrative. I was saying that there was this guy who said these things, and they don't care.
No, they don't care at all.
Yeah.
No.
So that just cracked me up, but
that's big China telling you what you can and can't say on TikTok.
Yeah. CCP strikes again.
Oh man, those guys.
But no, I just, I like, and it sucks because I do love that kind of stuff. And like, whether I believe it or not, like, I want to sit down and just talk about it and have fun with it. Yeah. And like, I mean, I see things all the time. Yeah. And I'm just like, that's fun. That's, Yep. That's interesting to view it from that perspective. And it sucks because I think that, TikTok is actually missing out on quite a bit of like solid content of just people wanting to chat about these things. And yet, like, no, they won't let you do that.
Yeah, I feel like TikTok's a big enough platform. They're not too worried about it.
That's fair. However, I would, at least personally, much rather watch something where 2 dudes are hanging out talking about goofy conspiracy theories comparative to, some 13-year-old doing a new dance trend. Like,
well, I mean, that's a generational gap right there, sir.
Right, fair. Yeah, I'm sure there's not a whole lot of Gen Zs that are like, yeah, the JFK.
JFK assassination. Back into the left.
No, we don't say the A word here. Don't want to get a 3rd strike.
Were there 3 rows in that limousine or only 2 rows of seats in that limousine?
Right. Was there a driver that turned around, or
how many grassy knolls were there?
Yeah. Anyway, it just cracks me up, like how much you have to dance around. And it's like, like when people say like they unalived themselves or they unalived that person. Yeah. Rather than saying the word that'll get you in trouble.
Unhealthcared. Yeah.
Right. Like, and it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, what are we doing here?
You're dancing around the word. Everybody knows what you mean. Like, what happens if they go, oh, you can't say unalived. Then on to the next one. Like, it's so stupid. Yeah. I just wish that the platforms would be realistic about it. Like, people do things that are not good for themselves. And, like, we should be able to address it. If I want to talk about Robin Williams, for example, like, I don't want to have to be, oh, well, he unalived. Like, that's so stupid.
Yeah, I agree with you. It just, in the moment, made me think about how I do censor the way that I speak when there's a microphone in front of me. Because there are definitely things that I, will be cautious of and tread lightly around. And it's just interesting because that's not one of those things, because I agree with you. I don't think that that's something that I should have to consciously filter out, because in everyday conversation, even in a business environment,
Yeah.
sure, we tread carefully around these topics, but I don't have to say unalived.
Right. And for me, you know, I'm obviously a huge proponent of rights.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, yes, that is for the government to not infringe on your First Amendment right of free speech.
Mm-hmm.
Does not apply to platforms. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
However, in the same right, why don't you let the market work itself out? Like if somebody hops on here and they're like, Eddie mentioned JFK and they giggled, and they decide to not watch the podcast, like, cool, kick rocks, don't care, don't need you. We're going to have fun. And I've always taken that approach to like business in general, right? I carry a sense of professionalism and a semblance of, you know, not letting the intrusive thoughts out. However, you know, if somebody doesn't want to partake in anything that I do in business because I might say a cuss word in front of them, then like, cool, separate the wheat from the chaff, and you can go elsewhere.
There are definitely, there are some people that are very concerned about things like, you know, profane language. And then there are other businessmen that I have worked with that cuss like sailors and are highly, highly successful people. You know, it's different, what's the adage? Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
I think that there are more important things to be focused on.
Agreed.
Than whether or not someone uses bad language, or if someone wants to talk. I suppose maybe having some situational awareness, like read the room. When and where is this appropriate?
Yeah, I'm not going to go dropping F-bombs in church, right?
You know, you could.
I'm not going to. However, you know, I've done personal development courses. I think I even mentioned this on the podcast previously, that I had somebody call me out, and she was like, "Why do you have to cuss all the time?" And I was like, "Well, that's pretty simple. I cuss, and if somebody's so sensitive about it that, you know, they choose instead to like not do business with me because I cuss, then I don't want them around me. That's totally fine." So there is that. However, yet in the same right, you know, if there's a multi-million-dollar contract on the table, I'm probably not going to go in there cussing. But I've also been in conversations, big business deals with billionaires, and cussed him out straight to his face and was like, "Do better," and walked out. So
I've definitely experienced both.
From me or
no, just in my own endeavors, where they're very, very serious business negotiations at a very high level, and sometimes it's not unlike being at a bar on a Friday night.
Yeah.
And other times it's absolute boardroom professionalism. You know, just depends on the circumstances.
You saw Jordan Jensen's episode last week. I mean, you were there for it, you know?
There was a lot of editing there.
Yeah. Love that, dude.
It was great. We had 3 hours of content, and I think I got 45 minutes out of it.
Was I wrong, though, when I said, like, he's very much like just a Vince Vaughn, like, style of communicator?
He's great, dude. That guy's a lot of fun. It's a fun dude that has a very, very positive outlook on life. He's worked very hard on the things that he has, took advantage of opportunities when they came, and then worked hard on them after those opportunities arrived. Didn't just take the opportunity and let it unfold on itself. He actually built on it. So listening to him talk about how he grew his businesses, or how he's grown his current business, and the humble beginnings of it, was really, really fun to listen to, because he was so positive about it, because and it wasn't because it just fell in his lap. It was because he worked really hard on them and continues to work really, really hard on his business and grow it. It's a really, really fun energy to be around.
Yeah.
You know, I really like being around people that are actively choosing more with whatever it is that they're doing, rather than this didn't work out, or talking about the things that happened to them that day that got in the way of them getting their things done. They still get the things done. They've, a good friend of mine, a coach that I talk with once a week, she said something a couple weekends ago to me and a few other people, actually, you were in the room, that the difference between a billionaire and a bum is what they do with their time. They both have 24 hours a day.
Yep.
It's just what they do with that time. And I think that Jordan was living, breathing proof of that exact concept.
Yeah.
And he's having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah. And it is a lot of fun to be successful, for sure. You know, and it's the same reason that people just don't understand how I sleep 4 hours a night and, you know, I'm constantly running. I'm an entrepreneur. It's in my blood. That's what I do. You know, if I'm not solving a problem, then I'm fixing the next thing to do. But yeah, the podcast is going fantastic. Thoroughly enjoyed myself over the last 4 months. I want to do more episodes about conspiracy theories and just chat and attempt to dance around not getting our third strike. I'd love it if people in the comment section wanted to tell us what kind of conspiracy theories they want us to chat about.
Yeah, I think that maybe I was chewing on a once a week, here's a conspiracy theory episode. Just for fun. Like, we're going to do the podcast, but then once a week there's a Monday drop, right? That's just here's one for 15 minutes, just whatever it is. I'm not saying we have to do it. I just like the idea of us, because we can do a live stream and then drop that on Monday.
My only concern with doing a live stream is that we're then bridled to being in the studio every Sunday.
I also don't like bridling unless it's for horses.
You see what I deal with? Anyway.
I thought that was pretty good.
Nope.
Okay. Was this a good time for me to go to the bathroom then?
Well, I want to do a couple quick shout outs. I want to give a shout out to Chief Matthew Thomas with his book Interceptors, The Untold Fight Against the Mexican Cartel. How are we lined up on the camera?
Let me see here. Hold on a second. Oh, that's perfect. You nailed it.
Nice.
Yes.
Shout out to Jaime Martinez with Patriot Dog Training and the Phoenix Legacy Foundation. We got a shout out to our sponsors. He's HelixPure.com. Sheriff Lamb running for Congress in the district that Andy Biggs is in. I want to say District 3. Don't remember. Yeah. And huge shout out as well to Chris Haynes of Stay Ready Training.
SRT, let's go. Yeah. That's a good dude. That guy.
I love that guy.
I really like having him around.
Yeah. In fact, I am attempting to put him in contact with some folks right now so that he can go teach the active shooter course.
Nice.
To, I'm not going to name any names, but some specific people, based upon the fact that they've been getting threats because they're an organization that's religious. And it's been reported to the FBI, and the FBI went over and was just like, hey, don't do that anymore. And the dude's still making threats. So,
unbelievable.
Yeah. It's to a point where now they have to start looking into training like that.
That's sad.
Yeah, it's horrible. However, I'm going to put him in contact with them and see what they can do for each other. But Chris Haynes at Stay Ready Training, fantastic man. Sheriff Lamb, fantastic man, running for Congress. If you want to support his campaign, I'm sure you can Google it, and there should be something up there. Again, HelixPure.com for peptides. They're a fantastic, clean, pure peptide company. James Martinez with Patriot Dog Training and Phoenix Legacy Foundation, and Chief Matthew Thomas with the book Interceptors. I'm super excited to tear into this. However, I've just been busier than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. See how I censored it there?
Mm-hmm. I like that, but you haven't. I disagree.
Okay.
Yeah, yep. You know what? Agree to disagree.
Cool. Anyway, I'm going to get into your book very soon, sir. I appreciate the copy of it. Super excited to read it. Again, I'm sure you can find it online. You ought to reach out to him, Deputy One Time, see if you can't get yourself an autographed copy of it before he ends up selling it to Hollywood as a script and it becomes super famous. Anyway.
Do we want to maybe do some more random or slightly outside of that sphere shout outs? Like Zahn, if you want some pretty unbelievable art.
Yeah.
Zon, was it Zon? Was
Zon
it Zon
Carvalho.
HQ?
ZonHQ
.com.
on the webs.
Yeah, how do you spell Zon? Z-O-N?
Z-O-N.
Yeah, HQ.
And I think it's Zon HQ on Instagram, Facebook, all that. Ted Canto, Men to Kings. Love that dude.
Yep. It's a very, very cool program for men's mental health and development. And then, what was another really good one we had on that I was...
Justin Martz.
Yeah, Justin.
Go
You know,
back,
we
check
haven't
that
had
episode.
on because he's in Denver. But if you need a tattoo and you're in Denver or
Mr.
Tennessee
Tafoya.
or Las Vegas, John Tafoya,
Johnny.
you look him up on Instagram. He's been doing this for about 30 years.
Yeah.
Has his own studio, and then he goes to Tennessee every other month, and then Nashville every other month. He's usually there for about 4 days and is booked solid. He's an absolute beast on a needle. It's pretty unbelievable. And then he'll also alternate that with Vegas trips. And then, of course, he's tattooing out of his studio in Denver. So
I want to get him in here and do a podcast where he's tattooing me while we chat. I think that'd be
I don't want to do that.
Okay, so don't. But I mean, for me.
Okay. I mean,
you don't have to get a tattoo.
I think we put a GoPro on his forehead and he can that's how he can record it.
Or we can just utilize the cameras in this fantastic studio.
That's not going to work for me.
Yeah, awesome. Appreciate the support. You're always just so good about that. Thanks.
Welcome. Yeah, pretty fantastic guy. That's all I got for now.
Yeah, and he's on Instagram pretty heavily. Is it Johnny Tafoya on there?
Or John Tafoya.
Something
You
like
know
that.
what? Let me look. Hold on a second. I can tell you right now.
Fantastic man. Absolutely love the way that his mind works. He's just such a good human as well, and he's been super supportive of the show, podcast, whatever you want to call it. Just good man. Who else should we shout out?
Mel June.
Mel June. Yeah, you're doing some work with her, aren't you?
We are putting together a class, a 3-month program, class, whatever you want to call it. And I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on it, but yeah, ultimately, specifically, this is for men. We're doing this. It'll be held at a studio downtown, so we're doing it live as well as over the web. It's a very serious commitment. We're looking for people who are really willing to sit down and have a long, hard look in the mirror about a lot of the ways that they're showing up in different areas of their lives for different people, and being very honest with themselves.
Yeah.
And there's some very cool tools involved in what's going on there. She's doing a big section or a big piece on listening, and experience her talking about what it actually means to listen, like what listening really is, not listening to talk, listening to respond, but listening to understand. The way that she goes into these kinds of things is really very, very fascinating and interesting to me. I've got, obviously, the thing that I do, there's a health element to it. And then the third piece that she gets into, I'll leave that as a bit of a cliffhanger.
Okay.
If those first two pieces aren't interesting enough, then the third piece won't matter.
Yeah. I had a smirk when you said that, because I really fought the urge to just come over the top of you and go, yeah, you know how that applies to me? And just interrupt you about the listening part.
Johnny Tafoya 77, JONNYTAFOYA 77, Johnny Tafoya 77.
Yeah. Go
Probably
check out
not
his
when
work.
he was born.
Go check out his work. He is a classic tattoo artist. However, I've seen him do all sorts of different things as well, and he's just a well-rounded tattoo artist in general.
This is really just a great human being, a good dad, a great husband. Like I really, really like that guy a lot.
Top tier mensch. Shout out to you, Johnny. Love you, buddy. Yeah, I say we call it. That's a wrap, bud.
All right. Hey, great job. High five.